Well, what's going on with old Pudgy Kim's secret billions these days? It turns out that he's been stashing away money. All the money's got to be going someplace. Everybody in North Korea is poor as all hell, except for some people on the top of the infrastructure, and of course not Kim Jong-un, whatever the hell his name is. He's got loads of secret billions, and it's been going on for quite some time, but it's been changed around a little bit, and here's a picture of him right here, the slim fellow, the fat guy of North Korea that owns the joint. So, when you got a bunch of slaves and they're all looking at each other saying, we're working our asses off, who's getting rich? Hey, it's pretty obvious by the uniform, and a couple of the generals around there. So, what's going on is North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has stashed away $4 to $5 billion in bank accounts in other people's names in Austria, China, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Russia, Singapore, and Switzerland, intelligence agencies believe. Now, I know this could be a Western propaganda story. Well, it's coming from South Korea's Seoul paper, but, just a little common sense. Just a little common sense. North Korea's got a decent-sized economy in a lot of ways. I mean, there's one on the books where they report to the United Nations or whatever it is or whatever they have what their income is, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on within the military-industrial complex that's just basically production of goods, and it gets sold someplace. Makes me wonder, why does Iran even bother with this open nuclear program? If I was them, if I was, because I know how to scam. If I was Iran, you know what I would be doing? I'd be dealing with these guys all the way, because they got nukes. I'd be saying, skip the sanctions. I'd throw out the peace. We don't need. We're not doing any nuclear weapons. Throw out the peace doves. And they got lots more money coming in, right? Because they don't have any sanctions or anything like that. They don't have to deal with this. They just go buy some nukes from old Kim over here. That's what I would be doing. I don't know what the hell's the matter with those guys. I don't even know how to scam. Because gone with this story. This is Fat Kim. Bank accounts. After the U.S. froze the accounts of former North Korea Kim Jong-il at Banco Delta Asia in Macau 2005, the North dispersed its funds over many overseas accounts at different banks. North Korea opened accounts under aliases in Asia, Europe, and Central America. Now, this interrelates with something else, because this is where I think, another reason. Our guys on the top, they might be shrewd, they might be idiots, liberal socialists, social planners, but they're shrewd too. Because you know what I think they're going to do? The women that they're getting in the military, they're going to have a special force go over there, and this will be their truck with a dollar bill on it. They're going to go infiltrate the palace over where Kim is, and they're going to spend his $4 or $5 billion. They'll spend it. They're going to have 100 days to do it. And, women can do it. So it'll be a special rifle team of women soldiers and Marines that can get in there and spend all his billions. I think they'll do it. This guy will be skinny as a rail and flat broke in no time. So that's probably why they got the women in the military. But going on with this story, looks like, you figure it out. North Korea, they got a bunch of peasant slaves over there producing stuff, and they're not getting paid. They're practically starving. I mean, they don't look like this guy, man. They're about, I'd say about 3 or 4 regular North Koreans can fit in this guy's jacket, no problem, keep him warm. But, so the money's all going to that guy and some of the guys around the top of him. So intelligence agencies believe that most of the money belongs to Kim Jong-un and is used to buy luxury goods, either for himself, and I say underscore in the second part, by the loyalty of high-ranking officials. Because when you got a gang, you got to really watch who's around you, man. You got to watch who's going to stab you in the back and say, what do I need this guy? What do I need this fat Kim for? I could take I could be the leader. We don't need him. Let's cut him out. Let's take his percentage of the pie. So a lot of it does go by into the loyalty of high-ranking officials. North Korea's economy is divided into its official economy, which stinks, the military economy, which is pretty good, and an imperial economy, which is probably pretty damn stellar, involving the Kim dynasty. So, most of Kim's slush funds are foreign currency revenues generated by North Korean businesses attached to military or other government entities. Now, I want to point something else out. In 2008, $30 million worth of counterfeit money was launched. Now, this is, what kind of money they used to use mainly? $100 bills. $100 bills. Why do you think they've changed the $100 bill in the United States? You know, when Bob Chapman or Lindsey Williams comes out, oh, they're going to come out with a new $100 bill. The Illuminati bankers are falling apart. You know why they're doing that? Because in Colombia, they were washing the $1 bills, having the real paper, and then they put new ink on it, and it was like the real paper, and they'd be 100. So they put the magnetic coat in there, the strip, and all that kind of stuff, and some of the light shifting ink and stuff, the hologram and all that, to help stop that, right? Now, they were doing this in Korea too, So that's really why, when you get these rumors out, I'm throwing this out of here as a sideline because, those guys are hucksters, man. Lindsey Williams, oh, they're coming out with a new $100 bill. It ain't because the banks are falling. Well, they may be falling apart, but it's not necessarily for that reason. It's because of what's going on in Colombia, North Korea in particular. So the other thing is Pyongyang, North Korea is apparently relying on the Russian mafia to launch money and operate state secret slush funds. Now, they just make this accusation, but, there's a lot of ways you can stash money. Just like you people buy silver and gold, and I don't think you should buy everything, 100% of your money and that kind of stuff. But, hey, you could buy yourself some isotopes, and store them up in places in Russia. You don't need too many isotopes. Don't take up too much room because they're worth a lot more money than gold. And, when you're dealing with the Russian mafia, they're pretty shrewd, too, Like, you got an inspector, you're going across the border, and you got some Caesium-133 isotope stashed away in the truck. And the guy goes, what is that? He goes, that's just Caesium-133 isotope. He goes, yeah, is it real? Yeah, go taste it. He tastes it, and, it burns right through his tongue and comes out the other side, and he's dead, right? So, yeah, it's real. So, anyway, the Russian mafia's got some pretty good ideas, and they could stash money because it don't have to be toilet paper, $100 bills. And as a matter of fact, you can actually buy toilet paper. Never mind, I'm not going to talk about that. But, the thing is, you guys stash silver and gold. Hey, you could stash isotopes in warehouses in the Russian mafia vaults, man. No problem, right? Hey, they're gonna come an enemy, the U.S. of A. Anyway, so old Fat Kim here, he's gonna get slim, but we got the secret weapon. There's a bunch of women soldiers and Marines sitting in this truck. They got the dollar bill symbol on the outside. I know this is from Iraq, but this is the same kind of method they're gonna use on North Korea. They're going to come in there and they're going to spend that $4 or $5 billion, and he's going to be a skinny pauper. So, beware, Kim. Women, Marines, and sailors and soldiers, man, you got to watch out. They could spend some money. The American women can spend money, man. You ain't dealing with them Korean women. You're dealing with American women. They're going to make you go broke, and that's how we're going to get all the money back, and it's going to go back in the economy. So watch out there, Fat Kim. You're a throw, buddy. Anyway, it ain't over till the fat man sings.